Junior mining companies are high risk but very high reward if you pick the right ones. Up here on the screen, you can see a chart of all the junior mining companies that have successfully explored their sites and found gold and eventually returned to shareholders major stock price appreciation. At the top of the list here, you can see Great Bear Resources, which was trading at 51 cents before they discovered gold, and after they discovered gold is trading at $17.46. This represents a percentage increase of 3,323%. If we move on to the next line, we have Vizsla Resources, and they were trading at 21 cents per share, but upon finding gold, their share price shot up to $2.33, representing just over a 1,000% increase. And the last three companies down here, they also had their own significant share price increase of over 200% per company. K92 Mining has been a company that many subscribers have been talking about, and their share price is actually around the $7 to $8 range today. So since August 5th when this chart was made, they appreciated by another 200% from their original price of $1.60. You would be hard pressed to look in the tech sector for a stock that could appreciate by over 1,000% in the span of a couple of years. That's why junior mining stocks could be a very exciting potential to those of you who are looking for high risk, high reward investments. The way to play these stocks, in my opinion, is to do your research very well into these stocks and buy a batch so that it further reduces your risk, and all you need is one or two of these to blow up by 1,000% and you'll be laughing. But my caution behind this is only invest what you're willing to lose. When looking at Investopedia about junior mining stocks, Investopedia says there's three possible outcomes for junior mining stocks. The first outcome, which is most common to junior mining stocks, is failure. And what this does is it leaves a hole in everyone's pocket because you lose everything that you put into it. It's not just you who's losing money, but it's also the banks that put in money as well as earlier investors. The second possibility for a junior mining company is that it has enough success to justify a major gold player paying a decent premium to gobble it up. And this will lead to decent returns all around for all investors. And in the third scenario, which is the most rare, which happened to all 5 companies I showed you earlier in this video, is that a junior finds a large deposit of a mineral that the market wants a lot of. And it is a magical combination of the right deposit at the right time. When this happens, juniors can return more in a few days than a major will return in years. Welcome back to the Fire Grind. My name is Daniel, and on this channel, we talk about personal finance and stock market investing. Recently, I've been talking more about gold stocks because the price of gold has hit $2,000 per ounce, and I do believe that it's going to go further to $3,000 and maybe even $4,000 or $5,000. Gold has been sitting in a lull for the past 10 years, and for this reason, it's probably time for it to break out because the effort and labor behind mining gold has not shrunk, and we continue to use up the world's gold resources as we produce more cell phones, laptops, and IoT devices, even Teslas for that matter. So I truly believe that gold is going to continue going up, so here we're on a quest to find the best gold companies to invest in. For me, I don't know too many gold companies out there, but luckily this video was sponsored by Future Money Trends, which recommended this stock to me. And the mission of Future Money Trends is to help people grow their wealth by focusing on future trends. And right now, gold is a hot topic out there. So a lot of the stocks that they're forwarding me are gold stocks. In the past, I've talked about Gran Colombia as well as the Very Good Food Company, which is not a gold stock, but a plant-based meat stock which has good upside potential. And these two stocks I both currently own in my portfolio. In today's video, we'll be exploring this company called Norsemont Mining, and it trades under the ticker symbol NOM on the CSE. So unfortunately, it's probably not available to you guys who are in Wealthsimple Trade. However, you'll be able to find this on QUESTRADE, TD Direct Investing, or RBC Direct Investing. In addition to this, they recently IPO'd on the OTC market for American investors, and it trades under the ticker symbol NRRSF if you're interested. Now, before jumping into the details of the company, as stock investors, we always love looking at the stock charts. So let's take a look. Shares were trading at 30 cents back in 2019, and since then, the stock has moved up by 676%. So basically, you could have turned $10,000 into $77,600 within one single year if you invested in this company when they IPO'd. The current market cap is $35 million, which is still extremely small, which means there's a lot of upside for this company, especially when we hear the amount of gold that they currently possibly own. And I believe this is what's driving up the stock price recently, because there's still potential upside based on the estimated amount of gold reserves that are in the properties that this company owns. Now let's talk about management before we go into how much gold this company could potentially be mining in the next few years. Recently, Mark Levy became the CEO of this company, and the history behind Mark Levy was that he was a CEO of Norsemont Mining 1.0. So Norsemont Mining right now, today, traded on the CSE is 2.0, and Mark Levy's company, Norsemont Mining 1.0, actually started in 2004 and is valued at around $1 million. And when we fast forward to 2011, he sold the company off to Hudbay Minerals for a whopping total of $520 million. So basically, he took the company and multiplied it by 520 times and sold it off. So as an investor here, we see a CEO who's been a seasoned veteran in this industry taking over this company. We could possibly be imagining at least a 10x return from this company if they do things right. But one ding against Mark Levy is that he was involved with Aurora Cannabis. And there's a bit of a story behind this where Aurora Cannabis actually did a reverse takeover of Mark Levy's company. And that's how Aurora Cannabis IPO'd. And after the IPO happened, there was some sort of dispute between Mark Levy and Terry Booth, the CEO. And ultimately, Mark Levy resigned from Aurora Cannabis. And later on, Aurora Cannabis went on to sue Mark Levy for inappropriate activity that was ultimately not in the favor of the company. I couldn't find the details behind what actions were taken, but just take this with a grain of salt because, cannabis and mining can be a little bit sketchy, and the claims that people throw at each other, I don't know how true they are. And still to date, this lawsuit has not been settled, so there must not be substantial proof to have this case closed off in court. But again, despite the kerfuffle that Mark had with Aurora Cannabis, nonetheless, he still turned a $1 million company into a $520 million company from 2004 to 2011, which is absolutely impressive. Recently, the company bought a mining site, Chokulimpi, which was a past producing mine. Shell was one of the past owners of this mine, and it had its geologists estimate there was around 530,000 ounces of gold. Since this evaluation, Shell and the owner after them mined a total of 450,000 ounces of gold, leaving an estimated 115,000 ounces of gold left to be mined. So if we were to multiply this amount of gold by the gold price today, we would get a total of $230 million worth of gold, meaning that Norsemont Mining could potentially earn $230 million in revenue going forward from here. And remember, the market cap is only $35 million. So you're paying $35 million for $230 million worth of gold. But not only is there a possible 115,000 ounces of gold at this mining site, there's still a lot of exploration upside, which if Norsemont Mining literally strikes gold, this could make investors filthy rich. When Norsemont Mining bought this property recently, their experts did an estimate, and they estimated there to be roughly 5.5 million ounces of gold that has been undiscovered. However, one thing to note about this estimate, it is not certified by the 43-101 standard. And what this standard is basically is that it prevents mining companies from claiming some sort of gold deposits without having some sort of proof. So there was some sort of scandal that happened in the past where a mining company claimed they had X million ounces of gold, but it turns out it was totally fraudulent. So the standard was created so that mining companies would have to bring up substantial proof to show that their claims are accurate. So the fact that Norsemont Mining Company doesn't have this 43-101 certificate is probably why the stock price has not run up as significant as the other junior mining stocks that I showed you in the beginning of this video. But once they get the certificate proving that they actually have 5.5 million ounces of gold, or maybe something a little less or something a little more, then we'll see where the stock price goes. Because when we do the quick calculations of 5.5 million ounces of gold, at today's gold price, this will be worth roughly $11 billion. So a $35 million company with the potential to generate $11 billion worth of gold, we could see a lot of upside to this company. And if it were to somehow get to an $11 billion company, that would represent your $1,000 being multiplied by 314 times. But remember at the beginning of this video, Investopedia does say that this is extremely rare where junior mining stocks turn into this huge conglomerate company. So really you're taking your chances here. I would say in my opinion, a 10x gain is very possible with this company, but a 3,000% increase or a 30,000% increase is very unlikely. One other thing that we should note about this site is that the site is not very well explored, meaning that there's still a lot more exploration upside. And one of the facts that Norsemont cites is that the previous owners drilled on average at a depth of 70 meters. So drilling 70 meters down into the earth is not very far. Some of the deepest mines in the world run down at least 4 kilometers into the earth. So 70 meters is nothing for a mining company to drill. The experts from Norsemont Mining Company even have estimates that it's possible they could see anywhere from 10 to 20 million ounces of gold untapped at this site. And remember, this site was mined in the past by a company like Shell. And the quality of the gold here that was mined previously was fairly high quality. Some of the drill holes even had qualities of gold that are over 100 grams per ton. And on average, according to some gold mining standards, anywhere from 8 to 10 grams per ton is already a world-class mine. So just having 100 grams per ton is beyond words. The last thing for this junior mining stock that we're going to talk about is the financials. Because ultimately, if this company doesn't have enough cash and they can't operate, they're going to have to sell it to someone else. And as investors, you'll probably get screwed. So if we take a look at their balance sheet, currently they have roughly around $5 million in cash. So it seems like they're fairly well funded compared to their liabilities, because their liabilities come in at around $3.6 million. So they have more current assets to cover their current liabilities. And on top of this, their long-term liabilities are very minimal at around $0.6 million. The total assets for this company is around $10 million, and it shows that they have about $5 million in actual tangible assets that are long-term assets. And these assets probably came with the acquisition of the mine that they just purchased. Because this mine used to be operational in the past, it had a lab on site, it also had roads, had running water, power, as well as a headquarters. So all these capital costs that Norsemont would have had to incur originally, they don't need to incur this. And also one other thing about this deal when they bought the Chocolate mine is that they only paid $3.3 million in cash and $6 million in shares. So already they got this at a steal because the gold amount that's estimated to be in the ground still is worth around $230 million. And on top of this, they got a lot of equipment that was already set up, so tomorrow they could even begin mining if they wanted to. And when we look at the deal, the company that sold the mine to Norsemont, which is Impressus Copec, they opted for more shares than cash, which means that this company does believe there's a possible upside to this, and they prefer getting shares than just cold hard cash. This company's value though is at $7.5 billion, so the $3.3 million in cash they got is really just chump change for this. And the $6 million in shares that they get, if they could at least 10x or even 100x this money, that could go up to $600 million, which is probably why they opted to get shares rather than get paid out the $6 million in cash. As for me, right now, I don't own any shares of Norsemont Mining. And in the future, I may or may not put an investment. I have not decided yet. I'm still doing more research on junior mining stocks because I do think it's possible I could pick a winner here. And if I do my research well and spread my risk out amongst multiple companies, I could see some great stock price appreciation. If I do end up making an investment in any of these companies, I will let you know despite them not being on Wealthsimple Trade. I'll show you them in my QUESTRADE portfolio, so stay tuned for my next portfolio update. If you want to see that, subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss that video. As well as smash the thumbs up button if you enjoyed learning about junior mining stocks and the huge potentials that they could give you as a stock market investor. Anyways, keep up the grind and have a great day.